Okay, welcome everyone to our special meeting at 6 tonight, a rescheduled meeting from Monday night out of abundance of caution. That storm came through pretty heavy, just about 6 or 7 on Monday night, so whatever we got from it. So that was kind of worked out for us moving the meeting to tonight. So for those that are in the audience and those that are live stream, we welcome you to our special meeting at 6, and we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the invocation from Pastor Jason Todd. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today acknowledging that you are sovereign over all things, including this town and every decision made in it. We thank you for the opportunity to gather and to serve and to seek the good of our community. Lord, we ask for wisdom for every leader in this room. Grant clarity of mind, unity of purpose, and hearts that desire what is right, just, and good. Help each decision reflect integrity and genuine concern for the people of Hope Mills. Give us humility in our conversations, patience in our listening, and courage to do what is right, even when it is difficult. We ask for your peace to guide this meeting and for your hand to be upon this town, that it may flourish and that we would be a people who care well for one another. Lord, we commit this time to you, and it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Item 1 is approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Okay, agenda is approved as presented. Right into official comments. I think we'll have the manager's report. It's probably 25 pages. It's on the screen.
No, I cut it down a little bit. Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to welcome the board, our audience in the room this evening, and our citizens who are viewing on our live stream. This is the manager's report for the March 18th special meeting. Be the reason your community grows stronger. We are ready to officially announce that the 2026 Juneteenth Liberty and Legacy celebration is June 20th, and we are moving it to the Hive of Hope Mills. That should be something that's very powerful. The Women Mean Business seminar conducted by the Chamber is tomorrow. We do have a table that we purchased on behalf of the town to support the Chamber, and we do have 8 seats at that table. We're able to get more staff involved as well. The annual Kiwanis Club Barbecue Fundraiser is upon us. It's April 24th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the John W. Hodges Public Safety Center. I am glad to announce that our police department has received $11,704 from the AAA Auto Club Foundation for a traffic alert system to reduce distracted drivers. Next, on the second page, we did our ribbon cutting with the Chamber recently for the new Planet Fitness. There's information from the fire department as we go into our warmer months and people are starting to grill. We're trying to encourage people to be safe. Also, third page just highlights our recent budget priorities meeting that we had. It does provide information on the top and secondary priorities that were set by the board. The next page is talking about the North Carolina Main Street Conference. The next 3 pages are dedicated to that. Our planning staff attended. It was in New Bern this year. It's a very powerful conference. This year was the 25th year. It's done by the Main Street and Rural Planning Division of NC Commerce. And each year it goes to a different town, but these are historic towns that have official Main Street designations. So as one of the priorities from our board was Trade Street, we're interested in pursuing a Main Street designation for the town 4 Trade Street. And so some very useful information about the different breakout sessions that were held there, and some information about New Bern. The next page, we're sad to say that we lost one of our comrades, Mr. Fred Ferreira, passed away, and we did bring dedicate a page to him in condolences to his family. We did purchase a flower on behalf of the town for his family as well. The next page is just Town of Hope Mills Parks and Recreation events, poetry workshops, AI workshops, spring litter sweep, household hazardous waste, looking for coaches, trucks and stuff is coming up. And so you can go to Parks and Rec's page to get additional information for that. The next page is the page dedicated specifically to the chamber. The next business breakfast is next week, Tuesday, March 24th. And the last 2 pages will remain dedicated to NCDOT construction. I will probably have an update on the Legion Road Bridge at our next board meeting, because our public works staff is engaging NCDOT. I think we're past the initial date that they said it would be open, but they did have some delays, and so they're giving us some updates on when that roadway will be open. And that does conclude the manager's report for this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chancellor. Any comments, questions from the board? None? Okay. Manager's report's done. Board comments, item B. Commissioner Hamilton. I'll start and then work my way back in.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to welcome everybody that's here tonight in person to the meeting, and those that are live streaming, and I hope you enjoy the meeting. That's it. That's all.
Okay. Commissioner Mitchell.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I'm glad we survived the almost storm. That's what I'm gonna call it. But, believe it or not, though, if someone asked me, say, why are you closing down? There was not a storm. I said, think what, about 10, 12 years ago? And it happened on a Saturday. And those storms came through here and ripped this community apart. So it's best to be safe than sorry, proactive than reactive. So I commend our county, our town, for making the decision to shut it down. Thank you.
Commissioner Marley.
I'm good at this time, Mayor.
Commissioner Tremmel.
Good evening and welcome to the meeting.
You guys are quick tonight. Mayor Pro Tem Hope Page.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for those in the audience, and thank you for those streaming. I would like to take a moment and say that I would like to congratulate all the Cumberland County Schools students that were selected for the 2026 North Carolina Governor's School Program through the Department of Instruction, and primarily to the one student from Southview High School who was selected over 8 out of all the kids that applied. It's a very rigorous program, and only one student from Southview was selected. And well done to all those students that put in that work, the essays, the reports, their community service. It was a job well done. So congratulations to them.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. For those of you that may not have seen the State of the County address last night, which was also moved because of the storm, it was a very inspiring address by Chairman Kirk Deviere. I'm going to read a couple things. I don't want to be long with it. But he gave a mission brief. Honestly, before any type of mission occurs, there's a mission brief. And that's what he gave last night. This was his second address. And to me, I thought probably it was better than the first one, because it outlined a vision centered on community partnership, strategic investment, and shared responsibility. Those were the 3 legs on the stool. I'm an old country boy. People know that about me. three legs on the stool of his entire speech last night. And that's key because all 9 municipalities are working together in partnership. There was 7 out of 9 mayors there last night. And that was really, really good to see. But he was presenting a mission brief. This is his quote. "Tonight, I am presenting your mission brief." And he looked at everyone in the audience and said that. Not mine. Not the board's. Yours. Because the mission ahead belongs to all of us. Each of us, each 9 mayors can say the very same thing about their communities. Because our mission statement here in Hope Mills is not us. It's not mine. It's not the town managers. It's the 18,500 citizens that call Hope Mills home. That's who it is. He talked about clean water and infrastructure. He talked about caring for the unhoused community. He talked about mental and behavioral health, and we desperately need that. Public safety, military community, economic growth and innovation, fiscal responsibility and transparency. Here's one that we all can agree on, besides the ones I just mentioned. We can always get behind this one, Vision 2030. Where is this county going to be in 2030? You know what his answer was? A destination. That's well said. That's what the vision is in 2030. And then he finishes off by saying, telling our story. And often, our story, the narrative of our story is often twisted in different ways. You know, you hear a lot of negative, but you rarely hear a lot of positive about what we're doing so great in Hope Mills. And the manager's report reflects a touch piece of what we're doing as a community. But mission forward and the partnerships and the betterment of this community, of our community, is not just this board. It is all the residents, citizens that live here. And I just kind of wanted to share that piece from last night. I found it was very inspirational. Mayor Pro Tem was there as well. And the entire historical courthouse, the 100th year anniversary, every seat was full, standing room. People come to hear it. And that, I mean, community partners throughout the city of Fayetteville and throughout Cumberland County came to listen to that address last night. I find it was very inspirational. If you haven't seen it or in any way, you can see it on YouTube. I think it's, I know I put the link on my mayor's page, and it's on the Cumberland County page as well. Take the time and listen to it, because it really inspires all of us, because we're all one team in Cumberland County. We are a destination, and that's our story. So that's kind of the comments that I wanted to make. We do have one thing coming up next week. We have the legislative delegates meeting, which is next Thursday. That's going to be here. So next Thursday, our local legislative delegation will be here to listen to our vision and to spend some time with us. And before they go back to the General Assembly short session next month in April. So it'll be our time to have some time with them. Okay, that's all I have for my report from the board. Next is presentations, item 3A. Town of Hope Mills. Pastor Jason Todd, thank you very much for the invocation tonight. I just wanted to recognize him before he left. Town of Hope Mills proclamation recognizing National Vietnam Veterans Day. Whereas March 29th, 1973 was the day United States Military Assistance Command Vietnam was disestablished, and also the day the last United States combat troops departed Vietnam. In addition, on or around the same day, Hanoi released the last of its acknowledged prisoners of war. And whereas 3.3 million Americans served in Vietnam and Southeast Asia area of operations between November 1st, 1955 and May 15th, 1975. The Southeast Asia area of operations included South Vietnam, North Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, South China Sea, and the Gulf of Thailand. And whereas more than 58,000 American servicemen and women were killed in action, and over 150,000 were wounded in action. And whereas there were roughly 200,000 Vietnam veterans who reside in North Carolina, and over 7,500 that call Cumberland County home. Whereas since 1973, the remains of 1,060 Americans killed in action during the Vietnam War have been identified and returned to their families for burial with full military honors. 1,581 Americans, of which 39 are from North Carolina, are still listed as missing in action and are thus unaccounted for. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Jesse Bellflowers, Mayor of the Town of Hope Mills, do hereby proclaim March 29th, 2026 as Vietnam Veterans Day in the Town of Hope Mills, and encourage all citizens to remember the sacrifice and the valor of our town's Vietnam veterans and their families this 18th day of March 2026. Reading this proclamation is special for me. I know for Commissioner Mitchell as well. I'm going to give a little bit of history here, but it's okay. I joined the United States Army in 1976. All my trainers, all of them, were seasoned Vietnam veterans. Every one of them. Veterans that had served our great nation on a number of tours, as who trained me as a soldier. And that's the legacy that I carry with me in all 27 years of my military service until I retired. It goes back, all the way back to those roots in 1976. So if I get a little passionate, it's because I remember those hard lessons. And they were definitely the legacy. And they learned from the Korean War veterans. And they learned from our World War II veterans, our World War I veterans, the legacy of the 250 years of our great nation, as we honor that this year. So that's just a little piece of my history and how reading this proclamation touches me. So I'll move on to item B. Commissioner Mitchell, do you want to say something? You good? I just wanted to give you an opportunity if you did. Okay. because we know a lot of Vietnam veterans.
Good evening.
Let me read it first.
Okay.
I got caught up in the discussion. Overview of municipal human resources operations. Leanne Carlucci, Human Resource Director.
All right. Now, thank you.
Now, go ahead.
Thank you, Board, Mayor, for having me, giving me this opportunity to highlight my department and what it does for the town. I first want to start off by showing off our recent award that we received from the Public Sector Human Resource Association at their recent conference that I attended at the beginning of March. We're really proud of this, and so I just want to take the opportunity to show that off. The premise on that was in recognition of our innovation with the Dayforce HRIS implementation. So we're very proud of that. Myself, my other half, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here tonight, Shanice Smith, our HR specialist, and the Deputy Finance Director, Ricky Ramey, we're all part of that team, and we're very proud as we move into phase 2 of that project. I'd like to start off saying that HR, a lot of times people think of what I call personnel. Personnel is what HR really started out as, and it was more of a secretarial administrative role, processing paperwork, hiring, that kind of stuff. In 2026, HR is more of a strategic role, and that's where I'm going to go over with you today. So, what is HR? Why does it matter? Local government is a people-driven organization, meaning that municipalities rely heavily on their employees to deliver those essential public services every day. Human resources helps ensure the town has the right people in the right roles at the right time so that services to residents remain uninterrupted. HR also plays a critical role in protecting the town from legal risk. According to the Department of Labor, the EEOC, and the National Conference of State Legislators, the top 5 compliance and legal risks that face local governments today are employment law, wage and hour compliance, ethics, public records retention, and cybersecurity. HR protects the town in all of these areas by building the policies, training, documentation, accountability systems, and workplace expectations that reduce legal exposure and strengthen the organization as a whole. When HR is properly supported, it helps protect the governing body, the organization, the workforce, and the public trust. From a board's perspective, the work of the HR department reduces liability, supports defensible decisions, and helps maintain public trust in how the town manages its workforce. These are just a few of the areas that I'm going to talk to you about today. We're going to start with recruitment, onboarding, and orientation and move through to the strategic partnership. So with onboarding and recruitment, the HR department supports departments by posting vacancies, coordinating interviews, offers, and helps candidates move through the pre-employment steps in a timely manner. Once hired, HR processes paperwork, systems access, benefit enrollment, orientation, and helps the new employee transition smoothly into their roles. This matters because it creates a consistent and compliant employee experience, which reduces delays and administrative risk and supports retention, productivity, and organizational readiness. Additionally, HR oversees enrollments, qualifying events, open enrollment, and serves as a resource for the employees' benefit questions and issue resolution. HR also tracks administrative leave, including FMLA and other leave types, while coordinating documentation, approvals, and return to work processes. This matters because it protects compliance, reduces errors that can affect pay and coverage, and support employee well-being, attendance, and workforce stability. I just wanted to take a second to highlight some of our engagement relations activities. Some of these things are recent, some of these things have been reintroduced, but Some of the highlight that I'm most proud of here is the paid parental leave, which we instituted last year, which gives our birthing parents up to 8 weeks of paid leave and non-birthing parents up to 4 weeks of paid leave. And kind of in line with that, and close to my heart, is the Imagination Library. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but through the United Way, we were donated books, which I then send out to our employees when they are new grandparents, new parents, just to welcome their baby and give them the information where they can sign up for the program, and their child will receive a free book every month from birth to age 5. Performance management in municipal government is about accountability, fairness, and responsible use of public resources. HR works with town leadership to ensure employees understand expectations, receive regular feedback, and are evaluated consistently. This helps align individual performance with departmental and town-wide goals. HR also provides guidance and support when performance concerns arise. This includes coaching leadership on how to address issues early, assisting with documentation, and supporting formal performance improvement plans when necessary. Consistency is critical in municipal environment. HR helps ensure similar situations are handled similarly across departments, which reduces perceptions of unfairness and minimizes our legal risk. Effective performance management supports strong employees, addresses issues appropriately, and ensures the town can take defensible action when performance standards are not being met. Compliance is one of the most critical responsibilities of the Human Resources Department, especially in municipal government. The town is subject to numerous federal and state employment laws governing wages, leave, discrimination, workplace safety, and employee rights. HR's role is to ensure these requirements are understood, applied consistently, and documented properly across all departments. HR also provides training and guidance to leadership to prevent issues before they escalate. When concerns do arise, HR works together with the town manager, town attorney, to ensure that matters are handled consistently, fairly, and in a legally defensible manner. From a board perspective, strong compliance practices reduce the risk of grievances, claims, audits, and litigation, and help the town's financial resources, reputation, and governance authority. So in addition to the core functions that I've discussed with you today, the Human Resources Department is also responsible for several other areas that support workforce stability, compliance, continuity of services. These functions often operate behind the scenes, but are essential to managing risk, controlling costs, and ensuring the town can continue operating effectively. They include workforce planning and succession, pay and classification compliance, leave administration, safety coordination, and maintaining accurate HR data and systems. These are critical to ensuring the town remains compliant, prepared, and well-positioned to meet future workforce needs. So in closing, the Human Resources Department plays a critical role in supporting the town's mission by managing its workforce responsibly and effectively. The HR department protects the town and the board by ensuring employment decisions are lawful, consistent, and well documented. At the same time, HR supports town leaders and employees by providing guidance, structure, and the resources needed to perform their work successfully. Ultimately, a well-managed workforce allows the town to provide reliable services to the community, maintain public trust, and operate efficiently. The bottom line, the HR's goal is to ensure the town's people, policies, and practices align with the board's expectations and the community's needs. And with that, any questions?
Okay, very nice presentation. Are there any questions from the board? Commissioner Hamilton.
Thank you, Mayor. That's a very good presentation, Leanne. I enjoyed it. But my questions are, I didn't hear anything about background investigations, adjudication, contacting references, and I think those are high risk.
Yes, absolutely. Those would fall under the recruitment and onboarding process. So I kind of gave you guys a high level, but yes, that is part of our recruitment and onboarding process.
Does your department do that, or does the department head do that?
No, we do it.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say,
Mr. Mitchell?
I just want to say thank you. And I think when I first met you, I said, and I told the town manager also, HR is your first line of defense. If HR is intact, I think everything else will fall in place. Thank you for the job you're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
Any other questions? Leanne, that bottom line, that says it all.
Thank you.
Our town's most valuable asset are its people, our staff. And I really wanted to highlight that one piece, because none of us would be successful without the backbone of a dedicated, exceptional staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments is next. Oh, yeah. Nope, Norwood? Okay, Mr. Tadlock? How are you, sir? Just click that button there to talk in the mic, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay,
You may
thank you.
not need 3 minutes, but that's usually what.
I moved here in 1968. I want to thank you folks. This place is different, a good different. I don't live here now. I live in Fayetteville, but it's nice. I pastor Harvest Baptist Church. We have a building that we were wanting to add 240 feet. And this is Mr. Ron Bannon. He's a contractor for about 25 years. And he's a member of our church. He looked at the thing and said, shouldn't be any problem. So we, about 4 weeks ago, applied for a permit. And he didn't think there'd be any problem. We've already ordered the material. And, but we can't get the permit. We've been by there, he's been by there twice, and they've told him twice, we'll call you. This is 4 weeks, normally takes 1 to 2 weeks. And we were just concerned if there's an issue, so we can address it, so we can get this permit and move on with it. It's just a storage building is what it is, and that was our issue.
Thank you very much. If you will leave your phone numbers with our town manager, he will give you a phone call tomorrow.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
That's, you won't have to wait 4 weeks. He'll call you, and he'll give you whatever number you give him.
I know
He
Mr.
will call
Tadlock
you.
very well.
We want to make sure he
How you doing?
has it.
Good to see you, man. I'll give you a call in the morning. I got you. All right.
All right. That's it for public comments, I think. Okay. All right, next item number 5, consent agenda. Items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H.
Motion to approve items A through H under consent.
I second that.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, consent agenda is approved. Moving on, that is the end of the consent agenda. We move on to item number 6, which is a closed session called pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11.
Thank you, Mayor. We ready? Okay. Move to seal the minutes of the closed session until such time as the release of the information will no longer frustrate the purpose of the closed session, and further, no action was taken.
Second.
All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Next item is, we're back to old business, or now, we're not back to, we're just starting. Yeah, starting old business, item A, overview of municipal bond process. There are no attachments, but Drew will give us a short, or a long, explanation.
Not long. I'll be quick. Okay, so at the budget retreat the other week, we discussed the possibility of a GO bond referendum for this fall, and in doing so, I gave you a copy of a schedule that would go towards that process, and tonight, just having it in a public setting, what that schedule refers to, just so that everybody knows. And if we did decide to go with that referendum, then the first thing we do is I would contact our financial advisors, Davenport and Company, and also our bond counsel, Bob Jessup with Sanford Holzhauser Law Firm, to reestablish that contact to move forward with the bond process. And then from there, we would start a pre-application call with LGC. Then in the month of April, we would finalize the capital projects, we would finalize our debt capacity, and then we would initiate the plans for purpose, and then start the process of public education for what we plan to do with those bonds. And then we would start the construction design process. In May, everything moves pretty quick too when you get on this calendar. In May, we would do the informal notice to the Board of Elections, because if you're doing a vote in the fall, the Board of Elections would have to get it on the ballot. We would adopt preliminary resolution for explaining the purpose of the bonds, and we would authorize the publication of notice to file an LGC application. And then, of course, after we do that, we would actually file that LGC application. LGC is the Local Government Commission, by the way. Then in June, the town board would introduce a bond order and schedule a public hearing, and then the clerk would file a sworn statement of debt. July, the town would hold these public hearings, they would adopt and publish the bond order, and they would formally set the ballot question and referendum date, which would be the election day. September, we would publish that notice of referendum. October, we would publish it again. You have to publish it twice, and then the first Tuesday of November would be when we actually have the referendum. So that's the actual schedule that would occur if we choose to do that. So just giving you an update, and if there are any questions.
Okay, any questions? That was an informational update. No questions? We
Okay,
thank you, Drew.
Thank you very much.
Next item is item B, consideration and approval of Hope Mills Board of Commissioners rules and procedures, recommended updates. There are no attachments. Dan, you want this?
Sure. I believe the board has a copy of the proposed red line changes to the new rules of procedure, so I'll just sort of go through these one by one. As y'all may recall, we had discussed this at the last meeting and had any commissioner who had proposed changes to send those in to Ashley, and she compiled those, and I took that compilation and sort of used them to draft this red line version. So I'll go through each of the comments we received and discuss how that's changed in the rules. I believe the first issue that the board wanted to be addressed was remote participation in meetings. And some of the suggested revisions were how we want to go about doing that. And there was a suggested revision saying we just do it pursuant to North Carolina law, which I agree is a good way to do it. So instead of saying with a policy, we just says in accordance with North Carolina law. And I think instead of having a separate policy that defines what we can and can't do, we already have it in here that the person who attends a meeting can participate in the discussion, but is not counted towards a quorum and their vote doesn't count. If you look at sort of the guidance that is out there from the School of Government and Coates Cannon, they suggest that that is sort of one of the more conservative approaches. What we don't want to be in a situation of someone who is not participating in person, they're participating remotely, and they cast the tie-breaking vote, and then it's subject to a legal challenge. We're trying to avoid that. But while still allowing the board to participate remotely, I think that's a good compromise. That's kind of how we've been doing it. But the change here, if you see on page 2 of this packet, is really just saying, instead of in accordance with a policy adopted by the board, it's in accordance with North Carolina law, and then we sort of set forth the guidelines in the document itself. Any questions on that change? Or
Dan, and board as well. As Dan talks about the parts of that's redlined, we'll pause here to make sure that if there's any questions about that piece, we'll ask them at that time.
and perhaps what we can do.
Then if everybody's good, we're moving on.
And perhaps what we can do is just a general consensus that the board is
Good.
wants to make this particular change.
Yeah, and then we'll have a final vote at the end
Correct.
for the
Yeah.
whole thing.
And of course, once we have a final version of this, after we discuss tonight, we'll bring it back to the board, probably put it on the consent agenda since it's already been discussed, for formal adoption at the next meeting.
Everybody good with this one? No questions? All right, Dan,
All right?
move us on.
The next item that was questioned is, can we do anything about the staggered terms in the rules of procedure? And I think the answer to that is we cannot, because that was a part of our charter change. We cannot change the charter. We do have some statutory authority to change the charter, but not for something like this. That's something that has to go through the General Assembly or the statutory process for amending the charter. Y'all may recall we did that recently to make that change for staggered terms. So now that is, our part of our charter, which is an act of the General Assembly, and so there's no way in which we could change that or address that differently in this policy. So, all right. I believe the next proposed change was with regard to selection of the mayor pro tem. And if you look on page 4 of this document, you'll see the proposed change there. Basically, the transition to staggered terms kind of throws this language into question. What we originally had is that the mayor pro tem is appointed at the organizational meeting, which is the first meeting after an election. And we say that the mayor pro tem will be elected as the person who got the highest votes in the last election. Well, now, half the board didn't run in the last election. So it throws into question, do we want to stick with the last election? Do we want to say over the last 2 elections? Or do we just want to kind of leave it up to the board? My suggestion is we just remove the language about the highest number of vote getters in the preceding election and just say the board shall elect a mayor pro tem from amongst the members of the board who will serve at the pleasure of the board. In other words, and that's consistent with North Carolina statute, and it's consistent with our charter. So after each election, we have an organizational meeting, and just at that meeting, the board elects a mayor pro tem. That could be reappointing the current mayor pro tem, or it could be electing a new mayor pro tem, up to the board. And of course, pursuant to our charter and general statute, that mayor pro tem serves at the pleasure of the board, which means essentially at any meeting following that organizational meeting, if there is a motion to, change the mayor pro tem, the board has the authority to do that. So this change is intended to accomplish that, make it a little bit cleaner, and just make that clear.
Any comments, questions? Everybody good? Moving on, Dan.
Okay. There was a suggestion that we change the requirement for calling a special meeting from any two commissioners, to a majority of the Board of Commissioners. I did not make that change because that is a statutory requirement. And our, the general statutes control over this policy, and the general statutes say that any 2 members of the board may call a special meeting. So we wouldn't want to contradict the general statutes, so I've left that as is in this draft. There was also some discussion about, do we want to clarify sort of the role of the Board of Commissioners and the mayor? I think the purpose of this document is really, how we run the meeting. And North Carolina general statutes control what the role of the mayor and what the role of the board is, for example, with regard to personnel matters and things like that. So my inclination is to keep that out of this policy and just continue to operate in accordance with general statute on that.
Any comments? Moving on. Oh, wait a minute, hold up, okay.
Dan, the rules of procedure, I think is, let's see, page 9 talks about the roles of the mayor pro tem,
Yes.
and on 8, the role of presiding officer, the mayor. So why can't we have one there that talks about the role of the board? That was my question.
Because I think it's the role of the mayor pro tem at a meeting.
Okay.
If you read through that, it talks about, running the meeting, duty to vote, those types of things. So I think the purpose of this document is more, how do we operate at the meeting, and what is the role of the mayor pro tem if they're operating as mayor pro tem in the mayor's absence?
Okay.
That's my thought.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So I think the next suggested change was on page 6 under the agenda, and wanted some clarity on when the agenda is presented and how it's presented. And I think what we've done here is just say that a request, basically we've shifted the timeline a little bit so that the board has longer to review the draft agenda and ask for changes or things like that ahead of time. So what we've done here on number 2 is said, for a regular meeting, a request by a commissioner of an item of business placed on the draft agenda must be received by the town clerk by close of business on the Tuesday before the regular meeting. At that point, the agenda will be sent to the board on Wednesday, and only time-sensitive items can be added at the Monday regular meeting with the approval of majority vote by the board. That was the suggestion. The board ultimately has the discretion to approve, alter, amend the agenda in any way it sees fit. So the idea here is that we're going to have sort of a Tuesday deadline to get something on the draft agenda. Then once that is sent to the board on Wednesday, the board will have time to review that, provide feedback to the town clerk, and then the agenda will be published. But then at the meeting, as you know, one of the first things the board does at any general meeting is to approve the agenda. And at that time, any board member can ask for an item to be added, ask for an item to be removed, moved in the scheduling of the meeting or anything like that. So ultimately, the board still votes to approve the agenda, but this just sort of gives a little bit of guideline as to the procedure for adding something on the draft agenda before we get to the meeting. Any questions on number 2 on Rule 13?
Everybody good? Okay.
Okay, and then on number 4, same sort of thing. That's just clarifying that the agenda should be furnished with the tab information, sort of the full agenda packet, to the town board by close of business on Wednesday before the Monday regular board meeting, and that gives board members longer to look into it, do research, ask questions, things like that. So those sort of go hand in hand. Any concerns or questions on that? Okay.
Good, Dan.
All right. I believe 17. Okay, yes. I think this was a request that maybe this language under removal of members of appointed boards maybe sounded a little harsh and may discourage people from wanting to join, which I understand. I think the intent here is just to remove sort of the examples of why we might remove someone, and just say the board has the authority to remove someone at their pleasure if they, which is sort of the standard rule anyway. So it sounds a little less harsh, but it still gives the board the authority to remove a member of a appointed board if they're not attending the meeting or basically for any reason. They serve at the pleasure of the board. Any questions or concerns on that change?
Everybody good?
Last one is the next page, page 18. There is a request to add in that each committee chair or designee provides either a bi-monthly or quarterly report at the second meeting of the month. your regular workshop meeting. And so I think the board just needs to decide, do you want a bi-monthly or a quarterly report? Or do you want to adopt this language at all? It's
Go ahead.
all up to you.
The Veterans Affairs Committee, I think they have it in their bylaws to do it quarterly. And I can't speak for other organizations, but I really think the reporting system should be based on the activities that a committee or what a commission does. I mean, that's just my take on it. I know when I served as the chair for the veteran, we did it quarterly, and it worked out extremely very well, and it coincided with the activities that was doing. And it kind of kept it, and we kept the town involved, well, it kept the Board of Commissioners informed as well.
So it's up to the board. Do you want it quarterly? You want it bi-monthly? You want it monthly? Is quarterly good?
Quarterly's best.
Mayor Pro Tem? Commissioner Marley? Quarterly? So quarterly it is. Okay.
All right. Unless there are any other comments, suggestions, or questions, I will bring a finalized, non-redlined version of this for approval at the next meeting. We'll probably put it on the consent agenda.
So the general consensus is we're all good with the changes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Dan. Thank you very much. Absolutely. And thank the board for all the numerous emails, volume of emails that were sent to support these changes. Because the rules of procedure, it's ours. It's how we run our meetings. And so I really appreciate the volumes and volumes of emails that were sent. Next item is under new business item 8A, approval of revised guidelines for the Appearance Commission. That's under tab 8. Commissioner Trimble, are you doing that, or because I know you're the liaison? So is that Chancellor? Is that you?
I'm not necessarily plugged into it, but it is basically guidelines for the Appearance Commission. Are these new guidelines or amended guidelines? I don't see anything that.
What's the amended piece, I guess? Maybe that's the question. What piece are we amending?
We added the language that the agendas and minutes are made available 48 hours before the meeting. We didn't have that before. They just brought them to the meeting, and it caused a little bit of chaos. So we added that language, the 48 hours. We also added the chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer. They didn't have the actual officers named in their bylaws, so they wanted the officers named. And I think that was it. It was just real little stuff. At the very bottom there, it says that we'll hold elections for chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer at the beginning of January. That was it.
Based on
Seems like more house cleaner.
Based on the proposed change of the rules of procedure, they'll have to, all the bylaws will have to include the chair report that will be quarterly. So all the bylaws are going to have to be amended to include that once the rules of procedure is formally approved, and that'll be in our April meeting.
It's on the bottom of this one. The very bottom says it'll
That
present
doesn't necessarily
as
need to be part of the
requested.
bylaws, but it'd probably be helpful for them to have that guidance.
Yeah.
Okay, good idea.
Okay. Any other discussion from the board? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Have a motion, have a second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Next is item B, approval of amended bylaws for the Veterans Affairs Committee. It's under tab 9. That one's going to be you, Commissioner Mitchell?
It's gonna be me. Actually, we have 3 representatives from the HVAC here, and I did not make the last meeting, so former Commissioner Scarola proxy for me. Okay.
Anyways,
Welcome back, Joanne Scarola.
thank you, thank you. So we did some changes. The last time the bylaws were amended, was 2022, so it's been 4 years since they were amended. We did some changes to the, mission statement. We added some information in there. We also updated the membership. It's under Article 4. So originally, the bylaws had an additional liaison from Parks and Rec, remove that person. Then I also made notes that the additional members from the VFW and the American Legion, they have a vote, whereas the liaison, which is, Commissioner Mitchell, he does not have a vote, but he's part of us. There was just some grammatical errors I corrected also, so there really wasn't too much other than those aspects.
Okay. Every board member has had the opportunity to look these over since last week, so I will start asking questions with the Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I just wanted to verify, you said under number 4, the liaison does not vote,
Correct.
but your words say authorized to vote.
Let me see. Oh, hold on.
I just want to make sure. Yeah, I put my glasses on when they look dirty. So it says under section number 2,
Letter A,
letter A,
non-voting.
non-voting. Oh, the Board of Commissioners. Okay, so I read number C, my bad. I'm sorry, my apologies.
Okay. You got a question? I do. Commissioner Hamilton?
I'll start over. Article 6, meeting, section 4, states that 50% of the authorized strength of the committee shall constitute a quorum. But what I found was a municipal Veterans Affairs Committee typically requires a simple majority, more than 50% of appointed members. So my suggestion is just to say that the majority of the committee shall constitute a quorum, because you don't know how many people you're going to have. So I don't know how you can say 50%.
Well, in the top, it goes by how many numbers we can have. So regardless of how many we have, if they're not a member, like we have open spots, that's not going towards the
No,
quorum.
it doesn't.
No.
But still, like I said, you don't know how many people so how many people are you authorized?
We're authorized 7, but that's also, we include the VFW American Legion, so 9, so 50% still.
Well, that's not what I read. It said more than 50%. It says 50%. No, but what I read says it should be more
Because
than
those are
50%.
probably the 2022 ones
Because it's
that
hard,
were
it's
never
hard to
amended.
find things on committees. Hold on, Grilly. It's hard to find things on committees, and what they normally go by is the board. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but it says, most of them are saying, instead of giving a percentage, saying the majority of the committee shall constitute a quorum.
That's typical.
Right, but I don't know how you would say 50%, not knowing who all you're going to have, how many members you have.
But regardless, 50% is 50%.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Mitchell?
what say you?
Generally, a quorum is, a majority, 50% plus 1. So I would suggest probably having a majority there.
Change that word from 50%.
What
That
part,
still would, so instead of saying 50%, just say a majority of the,
Committee,
That work for you?
yeah.
what part is that?
Article
field.
6, meeting, section 4.
I think what former commissioner is saying that she doesn't want vacant slots to count towards a quorum.
And
So
they
you can
don't.
say,
They
you can
don't.
say a majority of the field positions or something like
Yeah,
that.
that sounds good.
Okay, that'll work.
Yep.
yeah, just instead of 50%, a majority.
That'll
Right.
work. That work for you?
Article 6?
Article 6, the meeting section, doesn't have a page number.
Yes.
But it's
Okay.
Article 6, section 4.
Okay. I say
Just one- it's
50%
just one sentence,
Yes.
one
of the
line.
authorized strength of the committee shall constitute a quorum.
Say
I think instead
50%,
of saying
yeah.
50%, you just say a majority of the authorized strength. So that still would not count vacant spots.
Would I have to go into depth of what constitutes a majority then?
Well, it depends, I don't think it needs to go to depth, but if you have five members, you need three for a quorum.
And the board.
which is 50% or more, just,
It'd be a majority,
Majority.
yeah.
okay. Too easy,
All right.
clear as
Okay.
mud.
We will send it down for review.
Yeah, we could talk after.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, all right, sounds good.
That's all I have. Thank you,
All
Mayor.
right.
Okay, anything else? Everybody's good with it?
Are you approving it with that change?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna ask for the motion. With that one change, or do we have a motion to approve it?
Motion to approve?
Second? Second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, it is approved
All right.
with that one change. Item C is next. Approval of Resolution R 2026-005, resolution supporting FY 2027 Community Project Funding Request for Commerce, Justice, Science, and related agencies, COPS Technology and Equipment under tab 10. Before I read the resolution, is there anyone wants to weigh in on this?
I don't even know what you're talking about, so.
Well, that's kind of where I was leading. Before I read the resolutions, anybody want to comment about this? Why do we need it? Why is it important? Do we need it at all? All right, if not, I'll read it then. All right, let's go. Resolution R 2026-005, Town of Hope Mills resolution supporting FY 2027 Community Project Funding Request for Commerce, Justice, Science, and related agencies, COPS, Technology and Equipment, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Hope Mills has expressed its commitment to supporting public safety initiatives within the community, and whereas the Board of Commissioners recognizes the need to acquire and fund additional police equipment to enhance the safety and operational effectiveness of the Hope Mills Police Department, and whereas the Board of Commissioners supports the submission of a request for fiscal year 2027 community project funding under the community project funding within the COPS Technology and Equipment Program account in the Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies Appropriations Act, and whereas the Board of Commissioners supports the request by the Hope Mills Police Department to procure 10 mobile data terminals, 12 small desktops, mini PCs, 24 flat-top monitors, and 20 body armor to improve officer safety and operational capacity, and whereas the proposed request seeks federal funding in the amount of $115,208 to support the acquisition of law enforcement safety and efficiency equipment, and now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Hope Mills authorizes the pursuit and submission of a formal request for fiscal year 2027 community project funding under the Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies, COPS Technology and Equipment account in the amount of $115,208, and be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners acknowledges that this request does not require matching funds, and be it further resolved that the Town of Hope Mills is authorized to submit a formal request to Representative David Rouser for fiscal year 2027 community project funding to provide safety equipment for the Hope Mills Police Department for the benefit of the Town of Hope Mills and its residents. That this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption, adopted this 18th day of March 2026. Do I have a motion?
Motion
Mayor,
to approve.
Motion, I have a second. Any discussion about this?
I was just gonna add that this is tied to, the grant program that we have. It's still paying dividends, but we need this resolution to apply. We did get contacted, we were contacted by, Councilman Rouser's office about the submission of projects. This was initially on the agenda for Monday. The deadline was today, and we did get approval that, if we can get the resolution to them tomorrow, it could still be, included in the submission. So this is a resolution that's needed for our police department to be able to apply for. And what the mayor said is true, this is $100,000 and it does not require a match.
I will further add that this is one of the main reasons that we have a special meeting tonight, is because this one resolution is very time sensitive. If we didn't approve this tonight, then we probably wouldn't be able to submit it for consideration. And, you know, you got to submit, especially for $115,000, and it's we don't have to match anything. All right, good. All in favor? Seeing no one opposed, the resolution is approved. Last item's monthly reports. Everybody could read those. And then the reminders coming up, the main two with all the committees is our special meeting on the 26th, which is next Thursday. And then we'll be back here at our regular meeting Monday, April 6th, unless we get another bad weather storm that delivers nothing. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.